I would say, well, maybe 20 years ago. Yeah, darn, that's old now.
I know.
But 20 years ago now, I probably sat in one of these desks, not in the same room. We were upstairs, I think on the 3rd floor. Okay.
Room 310.
And Miss Hall was one of my teachers. Okay, so that's how wonderful it is to be able to come back into this high school and talk to you guys. Okay, I'm very privileged to do that. And anyways, what I'm going to talk about today is just different things, kind of over-the-counter things that you can get. Okay, maybe an older brother, an older sister, or even yourself would probably have easy access to. Okay, that could get you in a little bit of trouble. All right. So my presentation, spice and other things, not so nice. All right. So my deal is I'm in what's called the Veterans Treatment Court program now because I decided, and I was really heavily using this, what was called synthetic marijuana. When I was in the service for 10 years and I got out, and I really didn't want to buy marijuana over the counter or illegally. Now you can get it over the counter. It's kind of crazy, but I didn't really want to go through an illegal transaction, and so somebody said, "Oh, here's some synthetic marijuana. You can use it," and we sell it right over the counter like a pack of cigarettes. And I thought, well, okay, I'll try that. And I started using it. I got very hooked to it. I probably did it for 2014, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years of being hooked into this stuff. Okay. And anyhow, the more I would use it, the more it would take to get some kind of, I guess, mind change that I was looking for. You know, you become very, you have a tolerance to it. So anyways, but every bit of it is a little bit different. So I used too much one day. I came down to town, Great Falls. I was trying to move to Havre to get away from some of my background. I thought Havre would be a better move, but I wanted to move the stuff with me. And so I did. I bought like 10 bags of this spice, is what it's called. There's a picture of it here, right there on the right. It looks kind of like marijuana. It's kind of shaky form. Okay, I bought 10 bags of it. All right, and then I drove up to Havre, and I went on a high-speed chase from Chinook to Havre. I didn't even know I was getting pulled over. All right, I was just out of it. Went over a spike strip, kept going. All right, I just did not know. All right, and what woke me up was my face getting drugged across the pavement of the road. Okay, and they took me to jail, of course, as they should have. All right, but you know what bothers me the most about that is that cop that set up that spike strip really felt that his life was in danger. He really felt I was gunning my vehicle to him. And I assure you I was not, but I can see why he would think that. So this stuff is, you know, really affects your mind. Like I said, I didn't know I was getting pulled over. I mean, I'm sure eventually at some point I realized the lights or something, but it was pretty scary. And, you know, the psychosis it caused, you know, I would talk to myself. I got really bad on this stuff. You know, I'd go around town yelling at brick walls, you know, for no reason, okay? It was kind of crazy. It is kind of funny because, you know, yeah, you look at that and you see that and you're like, that guy's really on something. That was me. That really was me. And today, you know, it took a long time to really get off. And after I got in trouble, I was kind enough to get a plea agreement to come to the Veterans Treatment Court and squared my life away. And since then, I have really been on the right track of improvement. And there's still room to do and room to get better. But I was, you know, Kathy told me here, she says, this stuff's really hard to get off. I said, I got it, Kathy. No problem. I was still using 3 months of the program, sneaking it around. Okay, it took me until I went to treatment at Fort Harrison to really kick this habit, and I did. But it's very easily accessible. It's called K2, Spizzle, Potpourri, sold over the counter. They market it as an incense, okay? And it's hard to test for. So for for some people that are like on probation, parole, in drug treatment court or vet treatment court, you could kind of get away with it. I probably did get away with it for a little bit, okay? But was I really getting away with it? No, it was killing me inside anyways. So, it's also known as a designer drug, okay? So they change the components. It's synthetic, means that it's men-made, it's men-altered, okay? So they can change it. You don't know what you're testing for. It's easier to, once again, get kind of repetitive there, but it's easy to get away with. It is not marijuana, but it does look like it. The effects of it, okay? It give you headaches, give you body aches, seizures, okay? And I've seen, I don't know if anybody is this age, but probably a 17-year-old one time. I was working and they said, "Oh, what are you smoking?" I said, "Well, spice." And they said, "Well, let me try it." I said, "All right, here you go." And guess what? That kid went down and had a seizure right away, within seconds, just from one hit of this, okay? So it changes everybody. Everybody's effect on it is different, and I wasn't thinking like that. I'm like, I smoke 2 bags a day, don't bug me. He took one little toke off of it and hit the ground, okay? I was scared to death that something was going to happen to him. I was scared to death something was going to happen to me. And, that should have been a wake-up call then. It was, as far as I never gave it away again to anybody I didn't know. But for me, that's scary. For that young man, I'm sure it was very scary too. So you just don't know what's going to happen. It could cause cardiac arrest, shortness of breath, and anger outbursts. I used to get real angry. I still kind of have some issues there, but not too bad. But I used to be angry because, especially if I'd run out of that substance, I'd want it. And I think it's like a lot of substances. People have that, if you don't have that fix or that substance in you, you start to get jitterish and anxiety and angry, and you want something and you want it now. Okay, I'm a kind of an impulsive person just by nature, so I really needed something all the time. But some other effects: nausea, anxiety, hot, cold sweats, family problems. Oh, family problems, I'll tell you. My family's been in the paper. I was in the paper when I did my chase. But family problems, right here, I'm going to point the wrong way, but wherever Parkdale is, okay, that way, all right, the Parkdale officer knocked on the door. My mom lived there, my brother. And my brother opened the door and put a pellet gun right into the cop's face. Okay, it was a BB gun. The cop thankfully tased him, okay, instead of just shooting him. Because I think some cops would have just shot you down, gone. And he got tased, and now he has a probation. He has to register as a violent offender. And none of my family is supposed to go through Parkdale anymore over that. It did create a lot of family problems. That substance use, substance abuse. It wasn't just spice, there was alcohol involved in that incident. But it leads, kind of like they say marijuana is a gateway drug. This is the same deal. Alcohol's a gateway drug, marijuana's a gateway drug. One drug just leads to another. It don't really matter what it is, in my opinion, from what I've seen. I wouldn't have said that years ago, but today I say that. One drug just leads to another. Financial problems. Oh man. Addiction. It's expensive. Okay. How many of you want to own your own home? Yeah, your own car, race car, sports car. Okay? You start using something, forget it. It's gone. Okay? Because you're going to spend all your money on this substance, I'm telling you. It is crazy. Whether it's spice, alcohol, whatever it's going to be, you're going to be dishing out dough for other things. Court fees, lawyers. All that stuff will add up really quick. You'll wreck a car, or it can give it. This substance right there, that bag. Let's see if I can go back to it. That little bag, and it's fairly small, probably the size of this mouse. is $40. Some days when I was really, I guess, in the height of my addiction, I could do 3 of them a day at $40. It's a lot of money. It's $120 in a day. So, and yeah. And if I couldn't get it out of my account, I was that guy at Town Pump holding a sign, hoping one of y'all would give me some. You know. And some days it worked, but that's how low it got. Okay? So it does create a lot of problems, financial problems, legal problems, as I talked about already. You know, you can find yourself in quite a bind. The other thing I'm going to talk about is Kratom. Kratom comes in, it's just like Spice, it's offered over the counter. Kratom's more available in town than Spice is. Spice, I can only know for sure one spot they have it at. They might start selling some of the other head shops or vape shops, but Kratom is everywhere. It's at Sinclair, it's at Poppy's, it's at Schulte's, I think is one of them. I think even Town Pump had it at one point. I don't know if they do or not still, but I believe they do. And this comes in a powder form. It could come in a pill. And it also comes in a liquid form, but I still haven't seen it, but many people have told me that it does exist. So, and this was supposed to help with pain or insomnia. It's supposed to be like a Tylenol. You know, if anybody's got a headache, you take something, or your back aches, or your foot, or ankle, or whatever. You take this, and it's supposed to help with that. Well, it becomes really highly addictive, and it'll cause some problems too, hallucinations, fatigue, and you can get really hooked onto it. What are the effects? At low doses, Kratom produces stimulant effects, with users reporting increased alertness, physical energy, and talkativeness. At high doses, users experience sedative effects. Kratom consumption can lead to addiction. Several cases of psychosis resulting from the use of Kratom have been reported where individuals addicted to Kratom exhibited psychotic symptoms, including hallucinations, delusions, and confusion. What does it do to the body? Kratom effects on the body include nausea, itching, sweating, dry mouth, constipation, increased urination, cardia, vomiting, drowsiness, and loss of appetite. Users of Kratom have also experienced anorexia, weight loss, insomnia, hepatotoxicity, seizure, and hallucinations. And what is its legal status? Well, here in this state, you get it anywhere. Okay? It's like the FDA has put a warning out there that, hey, you shouldn't touch this stuff, but it is readily available at almost any convenience store in this town. I don't know about the whole state, but I would say it probably follows pretty close throughout. So it's not good stuff. I see a lot of young adults that try it. You know, they want to solve that neck ache and that back ache, and they get really hooked onto it pretty quick. And then for the last subject I'm talking about is marijuana. Okay, it's now legal all over. That's crazy. But guess what? If you're not 21, you shouldn't be using it at all. Okay, and you got to have a doctor's thing for medical still. Okay, and you shouldn't be using it. So, like, if this is in your homes, and I'm not saying it could very well could be, you know, this should be put up. It's still a medicine. It should be locked up in a cabinet or whatever. You know, if you have parents, brothers, sisters, whatever, using this stuff, it needs to be, you can still be in trouble if it's still federally illegal, okay? I don't know how long that's gonna last, but it's definitely not something to get involved with. It'll stunt your growth, especially at your guys' age. One use of marijuana could set you back a year or two. It could make it where, you know, you can't concentrate, you can't get that math stuff good, can't get the science going, chemistry out the window, okay? Because it'll mess up the chemistry in your brain, okay? Slow you down quite a bit, all right? Medical marijuana is higher in THC levels versus recreational, okay? But I'm gonna tell you from my own personal experience, I have not seen any good thing come out of marijuana, ever. And that's whether it's, I've seen the medical side and I've seen the recreational side. Neither one are good. Okay, I've never seen anything positive happen from somebody that's using marijuana on a day-to-day basis. It's just an addiction like anything else that's gonna, lead to some kind of problem, whether it's financial, legal, or family. All right. Where can you find help? When I sat in this classroom years ago, my parents were really involved in drug usage. Okay, my whole family had some involvement going on. I sought help throughout the school resource officer and Anitra Hall, and she had another teacher. I can't think of his name. It's been so long.
Mr. Schulte.
Mr. Schulte.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and I think he went to CMR to be on the dark side. So
that was Mr. Linz. Mr. Linz was my first.
Maybe that's the one I'm
I
thinking
don't know
of.
about the dark.
Linz is at Schulte. Linz is at CMR.
CMR, okay. But yeah, you can seek help through your school teacher, a counselor, an SRO. Dean Snow talked about Sober Life and Alliance for Youth. I didn't put Alliance for Youth in there, I just put Sober Life. That's a great resource. I didn't even know my son, who goes to high school here, also goes to Sober Life and meets with Alliance for Youth.
I didn't know that was awesome.
Yeah. And they're located.
Sorry, I just met him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he goes tell my dad I said hi.
Yeah. They're located, if any of y'all know where Super One is, it's one block past Super One on 11th Avenue. So I think it's 3220, if I'm right, 11th Avenue South. So your family physician can help you. So if you have a doctor you see on a regular basis, if you're comfortable talking to that person, do. And you can talk to them about an issue you're having, or a sibling's having, or a parent. Don't be afraid to speak up, because that's the only way an intervention can change. And if you are the one that intervenes into somebody's usage, whether it's yours or theirs, that's a step in a good direction to put some kind of stop to it. Okay. Gateway Treatment Center is an option here in town. If you have parents that are veterans or in the service, that's an option too. Veterans Affairs. You can always turn to the Great Falls Police Department, Cascade County Health Department, or your parent or a family friend or something that is not in an active substance abuse. Okay, it's not actively using somehow. Turn to them, because maybe they know what they did, or they can lead you in the right direction. So other than that, I'll take some questions if you have any, or I'll get Lonnie going with his. Any questions?